Good morning. I give the floor to Colonel Maxim Prauta, spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, with information about the Ministry's activities. Good morning, dear guests. Here is brief information about the events which took place in the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Ukrainian Minister of Defense, General of the Army Stepan Poltorak, had a meeting with the Minister of Defense of Great Britain, Mark Lancaster. Ukrainian Minister of Defense informed the participants of the meeting about the security situation in the conflict zone in the east of Ukraine and about preliminary results of reforms in the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Poltorak noted that priority tasks for the Ministry of Defense is smart HR policy, switch to professional army, planning, capacity-based planning for the armed forces, improvement of logistics of equipment, and improvement of infrastructure. Poltorak made a positive comment about high professional level of British instructors which train Ukrainian servicemen within orbital training program of the Great Britain for the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Mark Lancaster said that the British side is ready to analyze suggestions of Ukraine about further assistance to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. As of today, the ministry continues its work with new regulatory documents necessary for reforms. As of today, presidential administration, Ukrainian parliament and cabinet of ministers adopted 58 regulatory documents prepared by the Ministry of Defense. These documents deal with improvement of defense readiness of the state, reforms in the Ministry of Defense, in the general staff, and other authorities in this field, improvement of social and legal guarantees for servicemen and their families. As of today, 32 draft regulatory documents undergo analysis in various authorities. As of today, 126 NATO standards are already introduced into the work of the Ministry of Defense and of the Armed Forces, and 84 national regulatory documents were adopted. These documents deal with strategic planning of development of armed forces capacities, the use of air forces, of marine forces, with communications, ballistic protection and for the servicemen, and protection from laser irradiance, with disposal of self-made explosive devices, etc. The NATO standards are taken into consideration during development of operational, strategic, and operational tactical requirements to the armed forces and plans of development and modernization of military equipment. The ministry started planning of supply of new military equipment developed according to NATO standards. And the ministry started developing a system of guarantees of quality guarantees of military equipment supplied for the armed forces. The ministry supplied proposals to the National Standardization Program, which prescribes introduction of 41 technical NATO standards as a national standard for the armed forces. And moreover, the ministry plans to introduce NATO standards for the land forces, air forces, and of Ukraine. In order to implement these reforms, the ministry cooperates with the state concern Ukroboronprom, Ministry of Economic Development, State Space Agency, and various expert organizations, as well as NATO office in Ukraine. The Ministry of Defense developed and starts implementing anti-corruption program developed according to international standards. Medical workers of the clinical center of Northern Region continue to help servicemen who were wounded in the east of Ukraine. Since the start of the conflict, medical workers from Kharkiv region helped to more than 20,000 servicemen. Nearly 5,000 of them were treated after combat-related injuries and 3,000 after having been wounded. All medical workers of Medical Clinical Center of the Northern Region had experience of work in the conflict zone. And officers of civil-military cooperation groups continue to help civilians in the east of Ukraine. Today is the 1st of September, the first day when children go to school, and Civil-Military Cooperation Group Mariupol delivered books for schools in Novozovsk region close to the contact line. Teachers from Sartana and Telakivka received various equipment necessary for teaching. And the officers had meetings with local authorities and discussed current challenges in the villages. Civil-Military Cooperation Group Volnovakha visited families with many children who are in a vulnerable financial situation. They brought to them gifts from charity foundations. While Civil-Military Cooperation Group Popasna, together with the servicemen who perform their mission in this area, brought products for schools. This is all information for today. Thank you.